Well, AMS is a full service divisional company, I like to say. My partner started it as a management company, and AMS stood for Artist Management Services.
Okay.
So that's basically what AMS. I used to always think it was Alvin Mays Sr. But he said no, that wasn't the case. Mutual group that we were both connected with at some point. I met these young men in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm a native of Canton, Mississippi, so I was working with their manager, and I was actually consulting him, and I ended up falling into like somewhat of a manager's position with the group. The group was pretty much, I mean, they were pretty good, and they were on the radio, they were doing radio.
Yeah.
They had a discrepancy with the manager, and which led me to kind of like falling back, because I had made some moves up in New York and got them on the new joint of the day.
Okay.
For 106 in Park. And shortly after that, they met this other guy, and long story short, they signed with someone without the manager that I met them through. And I just left them alone,
right, and
continued to, work with my Dev Squad stuff that I was doing up in New York with Eric and touring and everything. And one day I get a call from one of the group members, probably almost like a year later. And one of them said, "Hey man, I really, really want to work with you again." I'm like, man, no love lost,
right,
but
right,
man, come on, we had it. This didn't end right last time.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right, so
it kind of just went a little off last time. I'm not sure how to.
So I'm asking him, like, what happened with the guy that you're working with? Oh no, we're no longer working with that guy. We're back with our manager. And I was happy to hear that.
Okay, right.
And later on, I had a follow-up phone call with him. He said that everything was good, and they had kind of come to some type of agreement. But they had this investor. And guy who had a management company, and it was Alvin. And Alvin and I actually got on the phone, and they linked us up. I was very, very impressed with Alvin's conversation, being that he was from Mississippi. He had a whole idea of this studio and everything that he was doing, and later on led to a nightclub, and he was telling me about the concerts that he was doing, and the group was really bragging about him, and being that from Mississippi, you don't see too many black men that are in a position that Alvin was in. So he knew that I was working with one of his favorite, which was Eric Sermon, and Eric was actually sitting on the couch next to me listening to the conversation, and because I had played him the artist before.
Okay.
And he just couldn't believe that somebody from Mississippi had that kind of stuff going on.
Right.
So Alvin and I had a great conversation. It led to him wanting to show me what he had going on. Okay. So he flew me down to Mississippi from New York. Opened up the door. And when I say this guy treated me like royalty. Treated me like royalty, roll out the red carpet. I mean, I thought I was Diddy down in Mississippi. And he treated me really nice. And we gelled really good. Yeah. And when I left there, I didn't really tell him what was going on with the group at the time, because I was trying to see where the imperfections were on his end. Right. And I didn't want to take what I experienced with them and put that into his existence with him. Yeah. So when he later, had another conversation with me, he told me that he was having some trouble with the group. And that's what led to us having that conversation about the group. And when I exposed it, to what I've been exposed to with the group, he was like, man, I can't believe it. So he asked if me and him could continue our relationship, outside of that, right? Yeah. So I was like, of course, man, of course. And it wasn't maybe 3-4 weeks later, I got a call from Alvin's wife, and she was trying to surprise him, and it was a surprise birthday party for Alvin. And she asked me if I can get Eric Sermon to come down and surprise Alvin for his birthday. Yeah. And I did. We got on the plane, and Eric went down there, and we came out, and after Alvin was brought out and he's surprised by all his friends and family, Eric came out running. And it was just the biggest, like Alvin actually cried that night.
Yeah, like his best birthday.
He later on deleted the footage, you guys, but you know what I'm saying? He actually cried that night.
We're not going to tell nobody, but we're going to tell somebody.
Exactly.
It's between me and you.
Right. So he deleted the footage, but he actually had a great experience. And from that moment, we started talking, and you know, just kind of talking about, you know, music. And, you know, Eric, he's very passionate about, you know, the future of music. So we were just like, man, we got to get this going. So that later on led to another conference that Alvin had, his first annual conference for AMS. And during that conference, he made me president of the company. And we awarded Eric with a plaque for his, you know, contribution to co-signing the label. So at that point, we were growing from a management company to a full-fledged record.